Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 3, Episode 23. It's called The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. This episode is about a man who has seemingly died. Everyone in the small town is at his funeral. It's not present day, it's like
Western, whenever Westerns take place.
Yeah. They did have vinyl though, so it wasn't like super like early Western times, right?
Maybe it was like 1930s, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of felt like it may be like the 30s, but this is a town that's not quite caught up to the rest of the 30s yet. That's the kind of the impression I got. No offense, small Midwestern town, but yeah. So he wakes up at his funeral and everyone's freaking out. And the episode is ultimately about what people think he is, and if they can trust him, if there's something off or evil about him, or is there something supernatural or suspicious. And that's kind of it. And he has like a girl that he's trying to like woo, and she's happy he's back. But then maybe even she starts to doubt, like, oh, maybe he's like got the touch of death or something. We're not really sure. So that's the gist of the episode. We'll get into kind of where it goes. Tara, did you enjoy The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank? Foxy did not.
Hey. Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine.
I mean, I liked it, but it's not like a great one.
Yeah, I was kind of conflicted on it. I think I like what it's essentially trying to do, but I kind of hated the dialogue and every character in it.
It felt very like upbeat for what we usually get for Twilight Zone. Not like the comedy ones or anything, but I don't know, like the dialogue was very, like a different show almost. It was very fun. I don't know how to describe it.
I think that's probably it. I don't think the tone they went for is what I think this story should have had. Like, it was trying to be almost a hijinksy feeling episode of Twilight Zone, and yet it feels like the stuff that it's doing is quite serious. It's about the town starting to get paranoid and accuse him of being like something else that came back, of not being a human, and they're essentially going to try and do a lynch mob by the end of the episode.
Yeah, but really it's just a mistaken diagnosis of death. But you hear about stories like people who were like in a coma and then buried alive and stuff like that before.
We don't know that. The ending kind of implies that it's not that.
Well, I mean, maybe.
At the very least, it's 50-50. It's ambiguous.
Yeah. Okay.
But his touch does kill
kill roses.
Some roses, yeah, that die within like 5 minutes. So that does imply that there's something going on.
Well, it also looked like he came over there at dark, so he could have just, picked the dead ones thinking that they were alive.
That's what you're going with.
Well, men are bad at this, so yeah. Guess I'll get some flowers, steal them from the neighbor. And he accidentally cut the ones that were dead.
I love how they're all suspicious about him though, because he is acting A, too nice, and B, he's working harder than he used to before his
and
like
C,
death.
He doesn't eat enough eggs.
Yeah, he has 2 eggs instead of 3. Oh my god, he's the devil, someone shoot him. Like like his mother's very concerned about him eating 2 eggs for breakfast instead of 3, as if that's that weird.
Well, I mean, I guess mothers know best, right?
But then his dad just sits and reads a catalogue, and he sends his daughter out to get the other, like a new catalogue. He just likes to sit and read the catalogue. Does he ever buy anything from the catalogue? I don't know. I guess this was the equivalent of browsing the internet in the time period.
Yeah. Maybe there's like a lingerie section or something.
Well, actually, I noticed he was on the hammers page. He was looking at hammers before it cut to a new scene, because I could see the hammers on the page. So he just likes to look at the hardware section. He's like, oh, tools. I'm a man, I like tools. I'm a boomer. Yeah. But no, he's probably not. He's probably
well, it's the 30s, the man's got to make a living somehow.
Yeah. He's before the boomers, though, because the boomers came after that. If we're right in the time period, thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what generation he would be. I can only think back to The Greatest Generation. That's where the cutoff is for me.
Yes. I don't think it matters, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things. It only matters while the generation's still alive, because you're disputing with them. Once they're all gone, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter anymore. Now we're...
Yep.
Now it's the millennials and the zoomers that are at war. We don't need to concern ourselves with the The Greatest Generation.
Yeah, I don't like those titles anyway. Not that I don't think we deserve titles. I think we should just have numbers. Generation 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we reset when people die off.
But
go back to 1.
How do you know? Like, what's the end of the cycle then that goes back to 1?
Whenever the last person of that generation dies.
So everyone's generation number changes. So like, you know, when we get like another 20 years and a certain generation's died, we all go down a number.
No.
Then how can
so like if it ends on like generation 33 or something, and then the next one would just be 1, and then the next one after that would be 2. It would reset. It doesn't matter. You know me. I like numbers. I don't like movie titles that have names that don't make sense.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm just questioning what arbitrary number is the end of the cycle.
I don't know.
And who's deciding that?
So if we ever get to generation 69, those are the party years. We know that.
I think we're way beyond 69. If we're counting from 1 from the start of human civilization, I feel like we're way beyond. We might be at 69,000.
You don't get it, dude. Like, once that generation dies, we go back to 1 for the next one. Why is it so complicated?
And your example,
forget the numbers.
And your
Clearly
example,
this doesn't work for people.
And your example when you said that, you said the cat was 33, and all of a sudden 69's in this hypothetical.
I said if we ever get to that. I don't know.
Your logic is like, I don't like the name Millennial and Zoomer either. Okay, like I'm with you on this, but read some sort of name for them. Oh, each generation's just a reboot of the last. According to Tara.
Taylor's all his time.
Yeah,
we're all terrible.
So, yes, I'm not a fan of the type of dialogue in this episode. It's not the kind of everyone's like chirpy in a way that comes off as very unnatural to me. It feels very phony, feels very sort of stage play-esque, and not that a lot of performances from older stuff doesn't feel that way, but this feels especially like that to me. And the tone just kind of like conflicted with what I thought was potentially quite a dark story, the idea that someone came back from death, and I didn't know where the story was going, but when I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll end up killing him because they're scared of him, like, wait, he was given this miracle of coming back to life and humans just couldn't accept it. So they killed him again anyway.
Even though like everybody was mourning for him at the funeral, like he was clearly robbed of his life when he was too young. And when we get to meet him, he is like just a young adolescent guy. So he's like, you know, this is what everybody wants. He gets resurrected at a church at his funeral. So like, I don't know. People pray for a miracle and they get it, and then they turn on him.
Yeah, obviously there's some commentary in that, I think. The big examples, of course, that they're concerned about is the killing of the Rosies. The more public one is that one guy gets into a fight with him, and he's like, wait, I used to beat him up all the time, and he, like it was easy. And all of a sudden he's throwing these great punches and he's kicking my ass. What's going on? And this kind of gets to this sort of lynch mob thing. And they go and demand that he leave, but he's just asked the girl to marry him. And because she says yes, I'll go with whatever you need to go. And he's like, no, we're staying here because this is my home. And he gives this speech. This is the end of the episode. He gives this speech where he says, look, I'm none of these things. I'm not this dangerous, like, satanic thing or whatever. But let's just say for a minute you actually believe that I am. Is it really such a good idea to piss me off? That's essentially the gist of what he says. If there's a chance I actually have these powers, do you actually want to upset me?
To me?
Yeah. So they all just chicken out and leave, and they walk off, and the girl's like, wait, do you really think you can do all those things? And he kind of like shrugs it off, and nah, of course not, I just had to scare him. But then Rod Serling's like speech, and it really made me think of the Omen franchise with Rod Serling's closing narration, because he says, yes, so Mr. Myrtlebank and his wife had one child who's a very important person, like in the Senate now. And some people say that, and the whole thing about Damien in the Omen is that he grows up to be an important politician so he can have influence in the world and start to infect it. So honestly, Rod Serling's narration at the end straight up made me go, oh, he's the Antichrist. He's just the Antichrist now.
Yeah, I guess so. He does light a match without striking it. I guess that's our other clue. That he has the ability to manipulate fire.
Yes. He's just pretending to be this nice sort of dumb country boy, but he's actually the seed of all evil.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm lukewarm on this one. I'm lukewarm.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, I really didn't mind it too much. I definitely liked the themes it was going for with the whole paranoia and whatnot. But I thought the acting was okay. I liked the lead characters a lot, and it was fine. Like, it was perfectly fine. Just not one of the ones that I'll remember once we're done with the season.
It just comes back to me. I don't think that the tone the episode goes for actually fits the story that it's telling or the themes that it's trying to hit. It's something where, like, this could be a great dark episode, and instead it's kind of this weird. I don't know. I don't feel it. Like, I was watching it and I'm like, I don't feel this. Like, I'm getting nothing from this. I feel disconnected to it. Not that it dragged in or anything. It flew in at the usual 25-minute brisk pace that Twilight Zone always does. It was fine, but yeah.
For the most part, the episodes are all really different from each other, but there seems to be this expected formula that I just didn't get this time that maybe was a bit disappointing. Like, I was waiting for something big to happen and it never did. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say there's a few formats that follows rather than just being one. But yeah, there's, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 typical styles of episode. Mm-hmm. And typically, unfortunately, ones that are period pieces, I think, tend to be not as good. Not always, but tend.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have a great track record with the Westerns.
No.
It doesn't. I mean, we had The Grave, which I don't think either of us really liked that much.
I liked it until the ending ruined it all.
Yeah, it had atmosphere, but then it was like... even the first season, we had that, I think it was like the 3rd episode or something was a Western, and that was already like, it's not setting it up for a good start. Oh.
Yeah, the only Western one that was kind of good was the actor who ends up actually in the Old West, because it had kind of a point.
Oh, that was just a few episodes ago. Yeah, that one was pretty good.
And it wasn't perfect. There was definitely a couple of rough edges, but there was a lot of, like, fun stuff in there. It was saying a lot about this character. It had, we had 2 different sort of, like, interpretations of what it was doing thematically, what it was saying about this person, and what the message of the episode was. And obviously, I mean, the message in here, of course, is, it's there. Like, I'm not saying it isn't there. Like, the way this town turns on him, this, like, refusing to, I mean, essentially looking like a gift horse in the mouth in some ways. But also, just, the other things are there. It's just, I don't know, it never quite clicks together. I never found myself enjoying the character. And I think the townsfolk people, like, if it was going to focus more on them and show them kind of watching them and starting to mistrust them, like, maybe you could have some tension of, like, oh, are they right or are they not? But I felt like until the actual final scene where they go to actually confront them, it wasn't really about the question of are they right or are they wrong. It just kind of felt like, I don't know. Like I say, the focus and something was off.
I think you're right with it feels a little bit like a play, like you're watching a play, because after he gets resurrected and in the church and everybody, like, runs away screaming, we don't really see him for a while. Like, we just hear about other people talking about him instead. So, I mean, we sort of get that. We were saying, like, the perspective of the other townspeople, but I don't know, like, I kind of wanted to follow him more because he shows up, like, halfway through and then he's talking to his ex-girl.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't help that some of the things that they're thinking's weird are just not weird. Like, the egg thing is like, so what? He's eating one less egg. Like, this is not a cause of concern. He's actually working hard. Like, really, this is actually fairly explainable. He literally died.
Near-death experience.
Yeah, and he came back. So maybe he said to himself, you know what? I'm going to have a new can-do attitude. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to eat a little bit healthier by having only 2 eggs in the morning. This actually isn't that weird a thing to kind of explain, given what he went through.
Yeah, I guess so.
So.
Hey, but you know what?
What's that?
The next episode.
It's a biggie.
It's a classic.
It's a biggie. I recognised the title. I didn't really recognise the entity he was talking about at the end, but it is To Serve Man, of course. And here is the description on IMDb. And holy crap, there's very rare you see an average rating above a 9, but there it is. An alien race comes to Earth promising peace and sharing technology. A linguist and his team set out to translate the aliens' language using a book whose title they deduce is To Serve Man. Interesting. Now, this is a very famous episode, but
You've not seen this one, though.
But I have not seen it, no. So I actually don't know what the ending is or anything.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so fun! It's such a classic.
That said, though, was this the one they kind of referenced in the new show?
Yes.
Did like
but
a
don't
sequel
think
to
about
it?
that.
Okay, so whenever
it's the same
race,
aliens.
Yeah. So whenever they reveal whatever's going on, I'm sure I'm probably going to go, oh yes, I kind of did know that from that episode of the new one, because it probably referenced it.
I guess the new one, I think I talked about it when we reviewed it.
You probably did. That
they didn't do the thing that they do in this one.
Okay, well, I forget.
That's all right.
Whatever it was, I've forgotten it. So I'll find out next week what's going on with To Serve Man. But there you go. That is our discussion of this Twilight Zone. Just an okay one, honestly, I think, Colin. But yes, so you can let us know what you think of the episode in the comments. You can support us for absolutely free by simply hitting the like button and the subscribe button. They're very important on YouTube to hit those buttons. Tara is going to tell you all about Patreon.
Yep. If you enjoy the reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MouthfuzzTV. And if you donate as little as $1 per month, you will get access to bonus episodes of other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to these Twilight Zone reviews 1 week early. So head on over and check that out. Thank you.
You can also catch us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. So smooth out of that.
I almost knocked over Garrett Graham. That's why he needs to be on the wall.
But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We also appreciate it. Keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.